really can't come up with an answer. I don't know.
I don't know.
I haven't thought about it too much yet.
I think the biggest problem of aging is thinking about it.
I don't worry about it.
I hope I don't feel like my grandmother.
I have no idea. I don't even consider the matter. I don't really feel it has any relevance to me right now, so I don't concern myself with it.
I think it's going to be great.
I don't look forward to it. I'm kind of nervous about it.
Oh, man, I think it's going to be terrible.
I hope I feel as good as I feel today.
Never felt better.
I don't want to grow old. If there's some way possible that can keep me young, anything, operations, freezing, anything, I'll do it.
My husband always says the alternative to growing old is not good.
If you're brought up to believe you're going to grow old, then you grow old, and you don't do the things you want to do. But if you want to do certain things and you're brought up to believe that that's what you're going to do, then that's what you're going to do.
Well, you can't let things interfere with something you really want to do. And perhaps that's all the more, let's say, you get some degree of satisfaction out of proving to yourself that you can do things which are difficult, and which it would be very easy to find an excuse for staying in bed, which, of course, is a dangerous place, too.
I think this society is so youth-oriented that there's a stigma with being old.
Oh, don't do that to me, lady. Don't ever call me old, because every time anybody calls me old, I get upset, because I'm not old. I don't feel nowhere near old.
When I saw that first airplane take off out of that quarter stretch in that fairground, somewhere about 1912, I was hooked from then on.
Active, that's the answer right there. Keep active.
If you finish one thing and you think, now, damn it, I want to keep busy, I want another project, you look for one, and it will become a part of a lifestyle.
If you don't remain active and keep progressing, you're going to fall backwards and deteriorate.
And I feel in this country, this is one of the things that is so very bad, that we say to each other, take it easy. That's not the thing to do. You should do a lot of things that you want to do.
They told me it was a killer, that I'd better leave it alone. But I like the looks of it, and I didn't think it was going to kill me. I intended to learn to fly so it wouldn't. My name is Fred E. Ennis. My age is 82, will be this coming January 28th. I'm not in a position, even at my age, to tell anybody how they should reach the same plateau that I'm on. But my enthusiasm has a lot to do with my health, of course, and I'm still enthusiastic over flying. I wouldn't give it up. It's a challenge every time I take off with this particular airplane in this particular field, because the field is fairly small and the engine is old. My airplane is all right, even though it is old. Well, I like flying because it pulls me up away from the ground, away from all restriction, and I'm all to myself there. It's very difficult to explain the feeling that you get flying and whatever it pertains to it. Somehow, it's when you look out through those struts and past the tips of the wings, you just sort of got a feeling of togetherness, you might say. Only challenge that I have is that motor might quit on me up in the air. But in this particular part of the country, you can almost land in almost any field, because the fields are fairly large in comparison to the landing speed of the airplane. I love to fly because that's something that's got a hold of me and I can't get rid of it. I think maybe I should take a laxative or something.
I have a lot planned for the future, and I'm entering on a whole new period of life. It's a very exciting and very rich period.
I feel just like a bird. I feel just as free as a bird.
so many interests that if there's a movie that I would have liked to have seen and don't see it, I said, gee, I should have seen that movie. If the play I should have seen, gosh, I missed that. If there's an exhibition at a gallery that I didn't go to, I said, darn it, I missed that. I should have gone. And that so many things in life that interest me, and I think that I don't want to miss anything.
It took me 66 years, no, 59. I started 7 years ago, to find out that I could paint. And to me, it is the ultimate. I just love it. I said, I can't draw a straight line or a round circle. Never have been able to. So I kept at it and kept at it. One day I found out I could do a round circle. And before that, I couldn't. And just doing different little things, making the wing of a bird. All these little things were so important to me because I never thought I could do it. And it was really a feeling of accomplishment. It did something for my morale, I'll tell you that. I never even took art in school. I can't think of another hobby that I'd rather be into. Even if I had my hands, the use of my hands, rather. I think I would be painting if I had the choice, yes. I can just move my neck, my head, my eyes. I can shove my shoulders up a little. That's about all. It's complete paralysis from the neck down. There are days when it's kind of hard sitting up. But you see, the end result is worth it. Before, I had a family, a home, a husband. Now, my husband is gone. My home is gone. And this little room is my castle. I do not consider myself an artist. I just paint. I will never be a Picasso, but I love what I'm doing.
Work is something that I can no more stop doing than I can stop breathing. And if you think of work in that sense, then it becomes more than pleasurable. It becomes joyful. And I think Freud was right when he said, toward the end of his life, his disciple said to him, "Master, what is it all about?" And he said, "Love and work." And I find that truer and truer of myself.
I get up in the morning, not to go and keep myself occupied or active. I get up in the morning to create something that day that I can go back home and be happy what I did and be happy with my family and with my friends, neighbors, or anybody. This is what's making me what I am today.
There are so many people that have nothing to do, and here I am with my hours filled, the time passes, the weeks and the months go on, and I hardly know they're gone. No. I think that painting is a great fulfillment in my life, and I am really pleased with life.
When I'm tired of work, this relaxes me. I work now more than I ever did. I still work 7 days a week. I don't think nothing about old. In fact, I don't feel different than 50 years ago. You have to be dressed up for it. You have to have a net and gloves and smoker. Yes, I could use some help, but I still do it all right. And I will do it as long as I am. And I'm not going to quit. Why the bees make me happy? They make honey, and I like honey. That makes a food. And people like honey. and there is a little business. There is like a harmony in it. That's what I call symphony. They have a happy sign when they work in the morning, that you could watch them and listen to them. But when you start to work with them and they get nervous, then that's different sound. It's already loud and fast and something like that. You got to get out quick, otherwise they'll attack you with full force. It's almost same like human. When the human talk slowly, nicely, then on. But when they start to holler and argue, then you better get out.
I love all aspects of the natural environment, but trees, I have a special affinity and a special love for trees. They give us shade, they give us beauty, they have life-giving properties, health-giving properties. Some people like one thing. I love trees.
You can take that and put it up to the front. Put that up by the fence.
I love helping to improve the quality of life for people around me. I love working with the good earth. I want a better community. I want to help preserve the environment and improve the environment. I find it isn't something that I elected to do or selected to do, but I found myself doing it, and it's just become a part of my life.
Here. That's right.
I have wonderful, marvelous friends all over. In the house where I live, in the block where I live, I have friends all over. It's wonderful for you to have, it's wonderful for you to have friends like I have.
Hi, Mr. Williams. How are you, sir?
I don't feel lonely, or I don't be lonely, because I feel occupied. In my life, I have something to do practically every one of my waking moments. I really am enjoying myself because I'm seeing so many of the things that I would like to see come to fulfillment.
I retired from what we call gainful employment when I was 68. I never have worked any harder in my life than I have worked since I retired. My age doesn't disturb me. The fact that I'm going to be 80, I'd like to think I had quite some more years because there's so much to be done that I'd like to help get it done.
Keeping busy sounds like a pretty harmless and meaningless phrase, but actually, what it means for the retiree is filling your life with experiences rather than living in a vacuum.
Today, there's people 70, 72, they are sorry they ever went into this retirement. They'd like to go back again to 50, start life all over again.
I think retirement, truthfully, is phasing out one form of your life's work and phasing in a new life rather than to think it's going to be just a snap switch, shut off one and turn on another side of your life.
The majority of the people that I know of who have given up their regular routines and settled down and gone back to the old rocking chair, most of them are on the way out now.
Well, I think it's a wonderful thing if people know how to retire. But as I said, most people, they keep worrying about getting retirement age, and by the time they reach that age, they done worry themselves to death.
You solve the problems of retirement, not in retirement. You solve the problems of retirement before you retire. And the life that you live prepares you for the life of retirement.
With 10 or 15 years to go of a working career, whether you decide to quit yourself or whether you have a mandatory retirement situation, that's when you ought to start thinking about it. You can't suddenly come in Monday and be told, clean out your desk by next Thursday and find something to do that's going to make you happy. You've got to think about it and plan it, and I would say a period like 5 years is all too short.
All my life, it's never been that I've planned any particular thing. They all seem to happen. When I left the Merchant Marine after the war, I took a very ordinary job. and it was just so boring, I became interested in woodworking. So I bought a few tools, and I worked in my apartment in New York. I put a big piece of plastic over so the dust wouldn't fly all around. For 3 years, I kept my regular job until I built up a business that I was able to quit the job. And that was when I was 50. And I started very simple things, and then I worked into making my own original designs for furniture and designing and building them. I don't know where the idea came to me to make these. I just had the wood, and then about 1.5 years or so ago, I began to make these pieces of sculpture. I think I made a spoon first, and then the idea occurred to me to make a set. And then at the end of the year, I think I made 5 of them. I feel very fortunate that I'm able to do these things. It's sort of amusing to me that at 70 I should enter in such a wonderful period. I'm very much alive from this work, and it's a very rich part of my life, the richest part of my life.
Age is a relative thing. I am unwilling to concede that a given date can determine whether one is essentially old or young.
Jumping with George is like jumping with any other guys. There is no age to jumping. He's just a jumper, whether he's 74 or 24. It makes no difference.
Desire and challenge. If you want to do things badly enough and you're not ready to concede that you should stop doing them, except what a calendar says, well, you keep on doing them.
When I grow up, I want to be just like them.
It's very fortunate that my wife and I are a team, which has made all of this possible. One of the standard gangs in the business is, you mean you let your wife pack your chute? And of course, the hard fact is that my wife packing my chute has certainly saved me from more malfunctions and 900 jumps than I just hate to think about. It isn't a normal and natural thing for an earthbound person to jump out of a plane at 5 or 10 or 15,000 feet into what seems like open space. And for a cautious and conservative individual, I guess it's inevitably scary. But that perhaps is part of the satisfaction.
Okay, what we'll do is a 5-man round from 8,500 feet. Nate will be spotting. He'll get on the strut. I'll get out rear floater. George, you get in the door. You look at me. I'll nod. You give it ready, ready, go.
Ready, ready, go.
Okay, keep it tucked up. Keep the elbows in. Elbows in, tucked up, and George, watch the clock.
Okay. Remember to fly it small. We got to keep it tight. And
keep it tight so we can get our speed up.
Just make sure you take your time and don't rush everything.
Right.
Make smooth approaches. Don't come in too hot.
Nice, easy, fun dive.
Yeah.
Be aware. Right. Be aware.
Let's do a good one.
Jim will come in and pin you. I'll come in 3rd. Nate 4th. Mike 5th.
Don't anybody come in hot.
Okay, keep the elbows in, honk it in. Keep it tucked up, keep the elbows in. Elbows in, tucked up, and George, watch the clock.
Okay, 3-5, break it off.
3-5, break it apart. Piece of cake.
Well, it's a tremendous experience, a unique experience. It's really almost literally out of this world. Well, I have to push myself. I'm scared. I'm not very good in terms of physical coordination and that type of thing. I've always been kind of an awkward spot. And I think in the last 10 years, in the last 5 particularly, I've really been, let's say I'm a slow learner, but I've been beginning to get the hang of this sport. I think I'll make it yet.
I made 3,352 balloon ascensions and parachute jumps in over a period of 67 years. I've been in every state in the Union.
Yeah, I kept running into him in history books, and then last year in Batavia they had a
big rally to honor him, and I wrote and said, I must come even if I have to pay my own way because I want to be there. He enjoys talking to the people and stays vibrant with the people.
Good to see you, Captain.
Hey, when did you get in?
Oh, I was in last night late.
Were you late?
This morning. Yeah, I didn't see you this morning, but how you been? You looking
great,
good?
I'm feeling great.
I see all your buttons here.
Yeah, I haven't got all my buttons. Or I wouldn't be flying.
Weighted out, huh?
Yeah. Yes?
Have you set any records in ballooning?
I sure have. Oh, a lot of records, honey. In height in my ballooning and fast filling, and a lot of times I used to go up hang by my toes, skin the cat, hang with one hand, and just have a great old time.
I have actually not been that close to him in a gondola before, and I'm facing this evening, if he flies with me, with a little trepidation, because I know he's going to try to pull some practical jokes on me and push me a little bit and keep me on my toes. Things can happen with him.
Stay right with you.
Well, you're not going to get out of the basket, are you?
No, I'm not.
That's a pretty deep step there.
Yeah, it's bigger than hell here. And my legs ain't quite long enough to get over that.
You sure do get restless.
Sure you like what you're seeing. You see your other balloons there and a beautiful sunset there, and it's great to be alive, to be able to do that at my age. That's what I like about it.
Miss Foster speaking. Oh, yes. When do you want to come? Thursday, you want to come at 6:30, you want to come at 9 o'clock? 9 o'clock. How many are you, Miss Pollock? 6 people. Now, do you know, are you familiar with our policy here of ordering the entree before you come? Or may I please explain to you, we have a 6-course dinner, 2 appetizers, a choice of 6 soups, a salad, the entree, and a choice of desserts and coffee. Now, we do have wine. We require a jacket and tie, please, for gentlemen.
$6.49 a pound or portion. We cut them into individual portions.
And would you prepare it for me when I order it? Yes, you will.
Certainly.
You will set it up for me, right? I want it cut 1.5-inch cubes.
All right.
And, you know, is that marbled enough? Is that? If I didn't have enthusiasm, I don't think there would be any future for me. And when I say enthusiasm, I mean interest in things, interest in doing things, and going places. Beef Wellington is really beef and pastry in my case. I use duxelles. I do not use the liver pate. I require a minimum of 2 orders. It is rare. We will make it well done if you like. All the food I serve you here is my own idea of what good food is, how food should be prepared. I start cooking usually at 12 noon and I finish at 5. I'm here about, well, I'd say 12 to 14 hours, 5 days a week.
That's perfect.
That's a little heavy, isn't it? That's too large. What is that? That's too large.
Well, it's just about 3 pounds.
Well, 2 people, that's enough for 3. I will need 2 of these. Those 2.
Yeah.
And 6 down.
And 6 down.
Now, I have a golden duck dinner. It's a 5-pound duck, boned. We stuff it with wild rice. We roast it golden crisp. My guests get, for every 2 people, a 5-pound duck, okay? All right?
This is a little less.
No, I don't want that. I must have a 5-pound duck. I don't mean a 6-pound, I mean a 5-pound, honey. Get me?
I offer somebody, would you like to have something to eat? And they will look at their watch and they say, well, it isn't lunchtime yet. They didn't listen to the body. Am I hungry? Would I like to? Am I thirsty? It's the hour that counts.
I actually eat radishes for breakfast.
I sleep good, I drink good scotch, and I do exercise.
I see people jogging along that they call jogging, and it looks this way. And that's not jogging at all. It's just some kind of a lazy running. This is the way to jog. And I really jog this way, with the knees coming right up.
I don't do anything in particular to keep myself in good shape.
I do just about everything in the world not to keep myself physically healthy. I sleep very little, I smoke too much, I drink too much, and I never exercise except for dancing. And I do absolutely nothing right. I don't eat the right things or and I don't eat at the right times. I live on cocktail party snacks. So I suggest that as a way of life. It's fun.
Now, if you don't think it doesn't help you to keep feeling young, to hit the gold, why, just try archery, because it'll do it for you. I can vouch for it.
Some people do it this way, some people do it the other way. I don't know. It's just like there was an interview of two people. One was 135 years old, the other was 132 or something, and they interviewed them, two men, a few years ago, and they asked them how did they live. The one said, I never worked, I drank a great deal, I smoked all the time, I had a lot of sex. And the other one said, I worked hard all my life, and I never... Just the opposite, you know, and they both became 135. It's a very complicated process, I think.
I think a lot of our physical complaints stem out of mental attitude.
It's in here. But I've come down here in the shop in the morning that I could hardly drag my feet down. I said, geez, I'll never make it today. But I start working and I go home feeling a lot stronger than when I came down in the morning.
I think also if you don't keep your mind active, you just rot away and decay.
But losing one's interest is losing one's life, really. You no longer function.
When a man is healthy and has a good appetite, enjoys his meal, and can work, he should work as long as he can.
Quit, what would I do? I wouldn't go and sit in the sun or, boy, that I think would be the worst thing for me. That would be my prison.
A man came in the store the other day and he said to me, well, now I'm getting old. I said, you cut that thing out. Don't come in here talking about old. Well, I'm 67. I said, you're a chicken. Old at 67. Now, I'm 81 years young. 81 young. You see, I don't work because I have to work. I work because I want to, and I enjoy the work. This is the whole thing about it. To live is what life's about. That's life, living. If you keep moving, you're not going to sit down. You're not going to drop dead because you keep moving.
Any job has art in themselves, has some feeling, has expression. And if a man is walking and he just does it mechanically, then this walk is surely a burden to him. But if you feel that there can be made improvement, then the walk becomes to you your life. And I feel that I did something. And I call my friends and I say, there is beauty in this walk. And when I read and think about this, I think this is a day that I accomplished something and it was worthwhile to be here.
I could show you my strength that you're going to be surprised. Would you really want to see it? Well, I'm going to show you what I can do to this piano here. I could take this piano and just pick it way up in the air. And this happens to be a heavy piano. And this, I can do this all day long. I move them along. I move the piano all by myself, which I have proof, to the Woodlawn Cemetery. They're having a concert today, and I moved it all alone. The woman couldn't believe it.
I did my first commercial last week. Oh, and it was just great, and I'd love to have many more.
I think this world is full of people who just won't give up because the calendar says that they are 50 or 55 or 60 or 65 or 80 or 90.
Life is an open book. Every page you turn is a new day. Years back, we used to read that life begins at 40. No more. Life begins at 70. As long as God allows me to throw my feet out of bed in the morning, I'll keep on living and working. Working at the things I like to do, things I like to enjoy. Nature itself, animals, Right now I have about 225 rabbits all told. A rabbit is something that fascinated me since I was a boy. And I always thought I would like to have a big herd of my own, and this is the beginning. I think I owned a rabbit industry. This white rabbit is one of my own creation. It's a sport out of a chinchilla litter. It has brown eyes and black eyelashes, a very thick fur. A rabbit is something to think about. A cat will scratch, a dog will bite. A rabbit is just something to relax with, enjoy.
I'm Roland Lindemann. I'm 72 years of age, and this is one of the many pleasures we have in our park of feeding our pets. Feeding is your close contact with animals, and you soon learn who is your friend and who learns to respect you or who simply desires to have a companion. When I was 7 years old, I raised my first animals. When I was 12 years old, I had a zoo of 60 animals. And ever since, it has been my desire to have a zoo. And every penny we ever earned or took in went into another animal or improvement or better facilities for the enjoyment of all. We do anything and everything. Physical farm work, whether it's plowing or harrowing or harvesting or piling up thousands of bales of hay, that's all in the game. We work hard. We don't consider it work. We have 14 hours of pleasure a day, from 7 o'clock in the morning till 9 o'clock at night. I'm a naturalist who loves to be out in nature among wild animals, enjoy seeing the wildlife, which are our natural and treasured heritage here, and enjoy every minute of it. Well, I'm the father of many, many animals. It's a lot of fun to be the father of so many of them. Like I say, it has been all my life, just a hobby, a play toy. That's all. That's all a zoo director is. A zoo is big boy's play toy.
Well, Blackie's just a cow, but she produces calf, and the money we get when we sell those calves as beef helps us to live. Blackie also gives enough milk for us to have all the milk we want. What milk we don't use on the table, I skim and I make butter out of the cream. We feed the cats some milk, and the cats eat rats and mice. The chickens get some of that skim milk. That makes eggs. And sometimes we even sell a couple dozen. So Blackie is just a cow, but she's far-reaching. And I think everyone should be like Blackie. They should be far-reaching.
For me, toy design is something very, very special. I think it's one of the most beautiful professions you can have. And I was trained as a sculptor, and then when I watched my children, I saw how important toys are for them, how important play is for them. And that was the reason why I began to make the toys practical together with the children.
I think one has to have a broad range of interests or hobbies, a broad range of activities. I have a smattering of knowledge and appreciation and understanding of very many things, and I enjoy very many things, from the Metropolitan Museum of Art to the Mets. When I wake up in the morning, I don't look forward to dressing, I'll tell you that. But once I'm dressed and in my wheelchair, I look forward to the things that I know I want to do or have to do that day. I do a great deal of tootling around the neighborhood. I do shopping for myself. I do a slight bit of supplementary marketing for the house. The stock market is one of my hobbies. I bounce out 2-3 times a day to the brokerage office over here on 72nd Street, and I watch the tape there. Go over to the OTB office occasionally and put a little wager down there. I'm quite active.
I discovered in Costa Rica this wonderful lumber, which is named cocobolo. And then I heard that it's used for making marimbas and musical instruments. So I started with very simple shapes and found out that they have a wonderful, wonderful sound and can be used in school for rhythmics and things like that. Then the second piece, this one, practically the same but hollowed out on the 2 sides with slots going in, produce 2 different sounds.
I enjoy good music. Although I'm a middle-brow on music, I cannot educate myself up to chamber music. I'm strictly a romanticist, I guess. Oh, I see what you mean. You mean the armor. The armor, yes, that's quite true. Each one is 1 horsepower, huh? Friendship is a very important and a very nurturing part of life. One is made healthier and richer for friendship, and that includes love. There is that need at all times for love and warmth and affection, and I feel sometimes even that even when the sex drive diminishes, the holding, the touching, the embracing is a very nourishing thing for people.
What's that? Hey, happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Henry. Happy birthday to you. Come over with the kids and wait with the kids.
Oh, shortcut.
Come on, we'll wait.
Wish.
Okay?
I got it.
Okay, here we go. Yeah. Yeah, left and right. Yeah. Whoa.
Any more?
My friends sometimes say you're never grown up, you're still a child. But I think that's a compliment.
When I retired, someone asked me, what are you going to do? And I said, I'm going to try to remain interested and interesting. That's the basic philosophy of my life. I can't perceive of myself as conducting myself in any other way.
Here we have different woods, the same shape but different woods, and they all make different sounds.
In our whole Western civilization, death is never talked about. It's pushed under the carpet and so on and so forth. And it's only nowadays that you can hear a little bit about that people are taking it into account and taking it into, considering it as something which you have to face up to.
Death? My God, that's the last thing in my mind. Who wants to think about that? Jeez, not me.
Oh, I haven't considered that yet. That's way, way ahead of me. You come back some other time. That's, anyways, when that occurs, that's somebody else's problem.
That's the future for everybody. The whole denial of death is something that I don't want to get myself involved with. I don't deny it. I must say I hate it, I resent it, I'm angry at it. I don't propose to go gently.
Do not go gentle into that good night. Old age should rage and burn at close of day. Rage, rage against the dying of the light. That's the way I want to go out. I want to go out like Beethoven went out. He went out with a curse.
Death is inevitable and therefore must be dealt with and prepared for. I think very often death should be welcomed. I think Very often, death is the only solution to a problem. That death is a blessing. I think also that it is within one's rights and province to determine for oneself, if necessary, when that event should occur. I think that there's a little bit too much, shall we say, propaganda in this country about living and the sanctity of life. I think that there is a sanctity of death also. I think it has a proper, natural purpose and should not be considered an inevitable catastrophe. Of course, there are occasions when death is the greatest tragedy. But if I find the minuses outweigh the pluses, then I might have to give consideration to bringing life to an end. I think that might be the only rational next step. Life per se is not that important to me, but living that part of life which is still left to me, that's important to me.
Mr. Gandhi, when he was 79, almost 80, said, "I don't worry about old age or death. Every night I died, every morning I'm reborn." And that is a good attitude. It was his. It's my attitude.
I don't want to die. I don't look forward to passing on because I'm having a good time.
I look on the idea of dying as one more big adventure, because none of us knows what's really going to happen. And boy, it might be something fantastic for all you know.
But I think ultimately it's really it belongs to the life process.
Remember the Count of Monte Cristo, Dumas's great book? Well, the Count of Monte Cristo was sentenced to be imprisoned in the Chateau d'If for 20 years. He found a spoon and he dug his way out. It took him 20 years. He had something to do every day. You got to have something like that. You have to have a project.
I've been lucky that life has been one series of new and exciting experiences after another. And taking lessons with Lucy has been another very exciting and wholly novel experience for me.
Okay, let's go.
Right. Ready? I really came to Lucy with an idea. Look, I'd like you to teach me something that will enable me to play jazz and ragtime better. And I have gotten to this via Mozart and via Bach and via Chopin, and that's something that I never would have imagined before. After a whole lifetime of playing, I have suddenly discovered dimensions in myself and dimensions in music that I had not dreamed of before. Now, mind you, I was having a very good time. I have always had a good time playing the piano, but now I think I'm having a good time learning more about myself and more about the piano.
I love new experiences partly because I know how to cope with them, because I had a lot of new experiences long ago that I coped with, and each one of them taught me how to cope with the new ones now. And I think what is so sad about some people who are older is that they're afraid of trying anything new because they think it's going to be painful and scary. And I think that is a great shame not to leave yourself open to whatever may happen.
I've made up my mind that for myself, and I'm not going to sit in the rocking chair, rocking back and forth, and listen to the murmur of my arteries hardening.
As soon as I mention what I want to do next, I'll think of something else. Right now, what I want to do, I want to do lectures on dance and on creativity as a whole and on films. After that, I'd love to be a cinematographer. I've dreamed of that. It's not a passing fancy. It's something I've dreamed of almost as soon as I picked up my first camera, and almost as soon as I reviewed my first movie. That I am determined to do. I am sure, but when I have mastered the things I've just mentioned, I'll think of something else. In other words, there's no end to the things I would like to do. I am going from one thing to another. For instance, just 3 months ago, I started a new job. I never had any reason to think I'd be a good photographer. I just did it. And it is true that anybody in this world is capable of doing something productive and important. It may be washing a floor better than anybody else, but there are people who are better handymen than any other handyman. Everybody can do something the best it can be done.
How do you like those two?
Yeah.
Okay. I'd really like to do Legend of Joseph.
All right,
I think
here's
that's...
Legend of Joseph. I don't feel I am doing well for somebody my age. Now wait a minute. Yeah, Kevin Hayes. I don't want anybody to think of me as a 69 years old who is doing well. I want them to think of me as a person who is doing well. I'm a person. Older people should be people. They shouldn't be judged on what they're doing at that age. They should be judged on what they're doing. I don't think of my age at all. Many older people do not trust themselves to have fun. They're afraid they're going to be tired the next day. They're afraid if they drink too much, they're going to say something they wish they hadn't said. They're going to be afraid. People are going to laugh and say, oh, look at that old bag up there on the floor. What does she think she is? Well, I don't care. I do what I want to do. I do what I know I'm going to have fun doing. And usually, nobody thinks badly of me for it. And if they did, I don't care. It's my own opinion of myself that I care about.
Well, what about sex? I think sex is the most beautiful thing in the world.
In my age, you don't have to be completely without sex.
I think that doesn't stop when you get older. How could he?
What does anybody think about making love? Yeah, I can't think of anything that's much more fun. Can you?
There's nothing that I've enjoyed physically that is lost to me. My tennis may not be quite as good as it once was, and maybe my sex isn't, but it's there.
Well, you have to start. I've many good tunes played on an old violin.
I know of men 30 years old that can't have sex. You call them old? And I know of men 90 and they still have sex.
It used not to be thought fashionable for people beyond 65 to talk about sex or to experience it, but the fact is that it's a vitally important part of life wherever you are. I mean, at whatever point. Obviously, it plays a somewhat different role, say at 60 from what it does at 70, from what it does at 80, from what it does at 18. But it's a tremendously important ingredient in living.
Actually, it all starts in the imagination, and it all ends there. In some ways, it could be said that the brain is the primary sex organ. It's not the genitals. The genitals are important, sure, but they respond to the brain. They respond to the imagination. You see someone and you say, isn't that lovely? And immediately your imagination gets inflamed.
Love is something that is not just sex. As a matter of fact, as far as the relationships between men and women, I think the most important thing is having somebody that'll hold your hand.
Without love, there really is no life that is of any consequence. I think it's I think it's essentially the motive, the motive force in living for me. It's loving what you do, it's loving the people that you are with, it's loving your children, it's loving to read, it's loving to play. These are the things that give life a positive accent.
But when you have a good relationship to another person, then you enjoy it. Then I think it's a gift, and that's something wonderful. And that doesn't change if you are old, unless you are old in your thinking.
May God bless and keep you always. May your wishes all come true. May you always do for others and let others do for you. May you build a ladder to the stars and climb on every rung. May you stay forever young. Feet always be swift. May you have a strong foundation when the winds of change shift. May your heart always be joyful. May your song always be sung. May you stay forever young.
I specialize in no regrets. I never live in the past. I never say, oh boy, were those the good old days and did I have fun when I was a kid. Because I'm having more fun now than I ever had in my whole life before.
My name is Frank Kaiser. I am 71 years old.
My name is Roger Baldwin.
I don't particularly ever want to be young again, but I want to continue to be young in spirit.
Well, my name is Pearl Bird Foster. My age, I never tell.
My name is Daniel Mazzelli. I'm 71 years old. I feel fine.
My name is Fred Ennis, and I'm 82 years old.
Antonio Vitali. I'm born in Italy. brought up in Switzerland.
I'm Ronald Lindemann.
Bernard Majewski.
My name is Abe Last.
F. Gordon Foster.
My name is Harvey Francis.
My name is Mary Grace Harper. I'm 66.
I'm George McCulloch, 74, and I like what I'm doing.
Well, my name is Hattie Carthan.
I am Myron Surman, 86, and a busy like a bee.
Gertrude Stein said that many, many years ago, that you really don't feel your age. Once you are grown up, you feel just grown up.
My name is Yvonne Rudier. I'm not going to tell you my age, but I feel like 40. And I love to do commercials.
Perhaps the best thing that I've ever heard that was said by anyone was by one of the poets, Rilke, who was on his deathbed, and he was surrounded by some of the young people in his family. And he said, "Never forget, my children, life can be beautiful." And if I ever have that scene that I was talking about, and my children and grandchildren, my family and friends are around me, I think I'd say, never forget. Life can be beautiful. Life has been beautiful.